All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and in today's episode, we've got some Bitcoin and crypto news to show you. I've got a whole heap, a massive amount of on-chain metric data that is pointing to the start of a new bull market. So I'm going to show you that. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the equities because they are at critical levels. What can we expect? Can we see a melt up that I've been calling for a while, or are we going to get rejected and have to drop into a cycle low? I've also made some modifications to positions. I've opened some new positions, so I'm going to show you those and the logic for doing so. So if that sounds like something you'll be interested in, then sit back, relax, hit that like button, and let's get into this. The bears are currently trying really hard here to work for engagement and pretending what worked in 2022 is going to be working in 2023. At the same time, you've got bulls flexing as if they've been on the right side all of 2022. Best thing to do is to just keep calm, have no emotions, keep staying on the right side of the market with no bias. Just trade what is happening. I've noticed this as well. There's a lot of bears out there that are still bearish, even though there's absolutely no reason to be. I'm talking about Bitcoin. You can make a case for the bears in the equity markets at the moment. However, bears on Bitcoin are just simply wrong. It's malpractice not to take trades on recapture of 18K. And at the same time, I'm seeing an awful lot of toxicity from bulls, people flexing, screenshots, people laughing at bears. It's a market, okay? It can humble anyone. It will humble anyone at any time. So it's important to have no bias and just stay unemotional the entire time. We've got some news coming up, okay? The US banks are teaming up to launch a digital wallet to compete with PayPal and Apple Pay. So there you have it, okay? This thing is going to become more and more competitive. This space is going to become more and more competitive because if these companies, if these entities, if these banks do not start to adopt Bitcoin and crypto and stable coins, they're just going to get left behind because people can transact peer-to-peer. The race is truly on, and we can see that happening right before our very eyes. Over in America, their first nuclear-powered Bitcoin mining center is going to open in Pennsylvania. This is another theme we're going to see. We're going to continue to see nations compete with each other to adopt hash rate. The $646 billion asset manager A.B. Bernstein has said that Bitcoin still has room to run, and I have to absolutely agree with this. Coinbase's CEO has said that Brazil and Argentina should consider moving to Bitcoin. So is this another trend we're going to continue to see? More and more countries and nations start to adopt the Bitcoin standard, following in the footsteps of the likes of El Salvador. Hopping into a few charts here, Bitcoin continues to look very, very impressive. First of all, we've got a buy flash on the super trend. This has been a preface to huge bull runs for Bitcoin in all examples except for this one here. The 2-week GMMA oscillator has just flipped green for Bitcoin. Again, whenever this has happened, very good things have happened to the Bitcoin price going forward. Getting into the on-chain data now. On-chain data is as bullish as I've seen it look in a long, long time. The 24-hour futures short liquidations have had a massive spike. Many shorts have been scorched here over the last few days. Bitcoin's accumulation trend score, the 7-day moving average, is showing very, very strong accumulation with a decent trend score. This is indicative of large entities accumulating off the back of the FTX collapse. The entity-adjusted dormancy flow for Bitcoin is just leaving its lowest level ever. It's also starting to thrust upwards. Whenever this has happened historically, very good things have happened for the price of Bitcoin. This metric shows that the retail has been flushed from the market and only strong hands remain. The reserve risk for Bitcoin has also just hit its lowest level ever and is now attempting to bounce back. Again, whenever we've seen this historically, very good things happen for Bitcoin walking forward. The reserve risk here for Bitcoin, by the way, shows conviction amongst long-term holders is higher than it's ever been. In addition to all of these metrics flashing generational buy signals, Bitcoin is now closing on a daily closing basis above its realized price. Whenever this happened before, very good things happen to the price of Bitcoin walking forward. The MVRV score, something I show on this channel quite a lot, is leaving the green buy band. Whenever this has happened historically, this has marked the end of the bear markets. There is one exception here when this was not the case. Here from Plan B, we have a combination of realized price in grey, the 200 weekly moving average in black, and the MVRV score in the color code dots on the side. What you'll notice is as the MVRV score flips from oversold to a sign of more strength, it is also breaking above the realized price in grey and hunting down that 200-day moving average in black. The Puel multiple is showing that not only did we come down and touch the green box, the generational buying zone, but we are now thrusting out of this with significant force. Again, whenever this happened before, as denoted by the vertical dashed lines, this always marked a very, very solid risk-reward setup for Bitcoin. Very good things usually happen following all of these on-chain signals. And so hopping into the equity markets, I've been showing this melt up chart over and over and over again on this channel. We are right into resistance. I've got another chart to show you in a minute where you could make the argument we have potentially broken out. We continue a big earnings week this week walking forward. We are of course going into FOMC next week. These are indeed incredibly interesting times for the market, but I think the good news is whether we go up or down from here, we're going to get an answer over the coming couple of weeks. So as the market is right against its macro downtrend line, as you can see here, a move above would trigger a lot of stop losses for the shorts. And we know that in addition to all of those stop losses, record amounts of puts. This is the most shorted and most anticipated crash of all time. This leads me to think the path of most pain is to the upside. The market has been following a smart money confidence script. If this continues, there might be more upside in the short term. And remember, this upside will trigger the stop losses and start to scorch all of the puts, much like we've seen with the Bitcoin shorts of late. You'll notice here, whenever we get the 20-period average turning down, good things happen for the stock market. The same is true in every one of these examples. And so just before we get into some charts, I wanted to point this out. I tweeted this yesterday. I said I took half off of my gold position. The stop for the rest of the position has moved up to 18.95, which is shown here by the red line. I said I'm happy with the profit I've got, still holding the miners for now. I'm looking to buy the silver dip soon. If gold dips as well, I will re-enter the longs from lower down. So I've been talking for a few days now about how I was thinking this trend is slowly getting exhausted. I was also saying that I'm becoming increasingly concerned that gold and silver are starting to get attention in the mainstream media. The chart suggests investors should ignore crypto and stick with gold, from Jim Cramer. So again, the mainstream media continues to sound the alarm, continues to ring the bell about gold and silver. As this starts to get more and more attention, I expect this to potentially top out very soon and then roll over to crush all of the laggards that were late to this move. So hopping into some charts, the dollar continues to break down. Not really much more to say about this. It just continues to break down, can't seem to catch a counter trend bounce. Every time it starts to do what I think it's going to do, which is indeed get a counter trend bounce, it just immediately fails and continues to put in new lows. So this, of course, is fueling precious metal upside. Hopping into the gold chart, like I said, I've taken half of this position off. The stop for the rest of the position has been moved to this red line here. I still think there's a good chance that we can melt up to around 2050. And I've been saying this for a while. I think if we can get up here, then we'll get this massive shakeout move. And then from there, that will be the time to load up on gold. So there's nothing wrong with locking in a bit of profit. I still have half of this position open and I still have the miner positions as well. So I've still got exposure via the miners. I've still got exposure via the junior miners. We did really well at capturing this silver move. So we got in at this breakout down here. We got out on this red candle here. It now appears to be doing something quite nice. This is actually my preferred look. So I would rather move this down here. Hopefully it can do what I think it's going to do, silver, which is just kind of bounce around down here and then break out. And of course, that will be the trigger right there for the long. So if we can continue to be contained underneath this orange line, that would be really good news. If it is going to break out above the top of the box, then we can buy the breakout at the top of the box as well. Either way, I'm not too fast, but my preferred look would be something like this that then breaks out. So I'm still sidelined for silver, still have both the minor positions and still have half of my initial position on gold. Bitcoin continues to hang around just below $23,000. So happy days there. Not really much more to say about that. Continue to push this trade. As I've been saying for the last couple of days, we could more than reasonably expect a drop into a half cycle low to occur into the end of this month. But I think wherever that dip forms, it will then come bouncing out of that dip pretty quickly. Same is true of Ethereum. I'm not even really paying attention to this Ethereum trade. I'm just kind of letting Bitcoin do its thing and hoping that Bitcoin will carry Ethereum. Still have an XRP trade open, so again, not much more to say about that. MATIC apparently bull flagging before a move higher, so that's fine with me. And Zcash continuing to push that trade. So that's the crypto. Not much more to say about that, to be honest. Hopping into the equity markets, this is where things start to get interesting. So I think, and you can draw this line a few ways, you could connect it using the higher highs if you want to, it's entirely up to you. I like this look here, we got plenty of touches, and for me, I've been saying for a while, if we're going to break out of here, then this could well be a long from me. So I'm currently long the S&P. I kind of expect this, of course, to break out, retest and go, but we cannot rule out if earnings are bad or if the Fed is mean at the next meeting, very hawkish at the next meeting in a couple of weeks. We can't rule out like a bear trap that then resolves lower. So one day at a time, but for now I am publicly long the S&P as of yesterday's close, and I've called this trade out well in advance. The absolute same is true of the NASDAQ. Okay, so I've been saying for a while, I think since all the way back down here pretty much every day that I wasn't interested unless we could break out of here. We have broken out of here and we seemingly have done so convincingly. But for now, I'm long and strong at the NASDAQ and I continue to push this trade. The Dow, I've been long for a while and I've been saying for a while, all of this is kind of no man's land. So break above this red line and we can say with confidence that that is indeed a valid breakout and that we're going to get very bullish very quickly. Break down below these lows here and I think things will get quite ugly quite quickly. So, but for now, all the while we're in here, this is no man's land. The VIX still contained underneath this red trend line, isn't it? Still no reason to put a hedge on, still not speaking to a stock market crash or a volatility event. So again, subtle tells in the market that we could expect upside in the near term. The UKX, this is not quite a good look, to be honest. I would have liked to see a bigger bounce out of here. So it's fine. All the while we're above this red line, I will be happy to push this trade, but we break below this and I will be forced to close this trade early. The pump in Bitcoin at the moment and Bitcoin holding its levels are, of course, benefiting the stocks like Coinbase, MicroStrategy, Riot, and Marathon. So not much more to say about those apart from long and strong continue to push. I'm noticing Tesla is doing quite well, so pushing up into earnings on Wednesday. Does that mean it's going to be bad earnings and we're going to get a trap that then reverses sharply, or are we going to get some kind of gap and go thing setting up? So of course that would be my preference since I'm long, but I honestly and obviously have no control over what's going to happen here. So not much more to say about that apart from long and strong continue to push. I noticed Apple kind of right into this trend line resistance, as you can see here. You could be stricter with this and connect the higher high up here. It's entirely up to you, in which case it's thinking about breaking out. This could definitely be a long. I'm not particularly interested in this trade personally because I've already got a lot of trades open, but this is a trade idea anyway. So if that's going to break out, that could be a long. Geo still continues to chop around inside this box. That's what I thought it would do. I'd like to see it get going soon. I'd like to see it break out here so we can add to this position. If not, as I've been saying over and over again, stop has already moved just below those lows there. So that's Geo. Not much more to say about that. I noticed ARK. ARK is continuing to chop around inside this box down here. So if it can continue to do that and then break out, obviously that will be a long from me. But for now, it's kind of in no man's land, and it can chop around inside this box for a very long time before it decides to break out, and it could of course roll over and break back down, in which case I'm not interested in ARK at all. XLC, so we were able to put some risk on XLC. Here it is, and as you can see, long and strong continues to push. Not much more to say about this. This is a really nice setup, really clean sort of bottoming structure, really well defined entry, and quite a tight stop loss. So we'll just long and strong continue to push and see what the market can give on XLC. Interesting week ahead for sure. Earnings could definitely chop us around a bit. Earnings could definitely force me to pay a lot of stops. But if earnings can hold up, then I think there's a good chance that some of these breakouts will end up with some follow through. As always, no emotions, no bias, only respecting what the charts are telling me. That's all we can do. So that's what I've done. If you found value here today, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're not already. Make sure you turn the notifications on if you want to see how I continue to update all of these positions or open new ones and close existing ones. All of that good stuff. In the meantime, look after yourselves. Enjoy your week. All the best from me. Take care. Cheers. Bye.